Welcome, and today's practice we are just finishing the elemental series. The series this week we are visiting water. So as it says in the description for the video, just being really fluid in our practice and not having any attachment about how anything should look or feel, and just moving, allowing the breath and the movement to connect. As I always say that in all of the classes, but just try not to get too attached to how anything should look or be in any way. So we're going to begin in a wide leg child pose. So just take the bottom back towards the heels. Have the legs as wide as is comfortable for you. If you don't want them mat wide, that's too uncomfortable, just bring them in a bit closer, reaching the arms out in front and lowering the forehead down towards the floor. Really breathing into the back of the body, allowing the breath to push the shoulder blades apart. And then just walk the hands over to the right and then lowering down. Walking the hands back through center and over to the left, folding down. And then moving back through to center, then just coming up to a 4-point kneeling position. So in a tabletop position here, having shoulders and wrists in line, knees and hips in line. I'm going to take a bit of a cat dance here. Just starting off with regular cat-cow pose, dipping the belly, bringing the chest forwards. And as you breathe out, rounding the back. So moving through these two sequences, lifting the chest, rounding the back, trying to incorporate all of your body into the movement. Just put that light on, hopefully that will make a little bit of a difference. So dipping the belly and then rounding the back. And starting to incorporate a bit more of a wave into the movement. So as you breathe in, dipping the belly, bringing the chest forwards, and then just maybe take the chest as far forward as is comfortable. Then as you breathe out, rounding the back, take the bottom back towards the heels. Just moving in this way, bringing the chest through, and then rounding the back. If you want to add a toe stretch into this as well, you can tuck the toes while doing this. Slightly changes the experience. Just taking one more round. And then from the farther back position, just moving the body forward, lowering down on towards your front. Taking the elbows underneath the shoulders, finding a Sphinx pose here. So shoulders away from the ears, nice long neck. And again, you might want to bring some movement in here. Might want to look over one shoulder and then the other. Might want to lift an elbow as you look over one shoulder and then the other. Bringing more of a twist in. Just evening up. And then lowering all the way down. And just place the hands till they're just off of the mat, fingertips touching. Looking down towards the mat, I'm going to raise my head a bit because I want you to be able to hear me. You don't have to have the head lifted here. So we're leading with the upper back, we're leading with the top of the head rather than forcing the chin forwards and stretching the neck too much. So as you breathe in, we're going to take 3 cobras. So you could come up just a few centimeters, or you could come up higher if you have more space. So as you breathe in, like a wave, lifting the chest, breathing out to lower down. Again, breathing to lift the chest, breathing out to lower down. One more time, breathing in to lift the chest, breathing out to lower down. And just pop the hands together, rest the forehead onto them, gently tip-top the hips from side to side. And then placing the hands under the shoulders, moving back towards our 4-point kneeling. Just walk the hands slightly out in front, tuck the toes, and lifting the knees, coming into our downward facing dog. So again, find fluidity here. If movement feels good, take that movement. You might be pedaling the feet. You might move forward and back a little, just in and out of the pose a bit. Anything that helps you to find a feeling of release. And just find a moment of stillness. And keeping the downward dog shape, just lift the heels up so you're on the balls of the feet. And then just allow the heels to drop over to the right. So you might be experiencing a stretch down the side body now. And you might find that your right knee needs to bend a little here. You might want it to bend a little bit. I find it increases the side stretch if I bend my right knee a bit. And then lifting the heels up, moving through center, staying on the balls of the feet, and just dropping the heels over to the left. And again, take that side stretch and the right side of the body. Again, you can choose whether to keep the left leg straight or have the knee bent. And then moving back towards the center and just lowering the heels back down towards the mat. And then just bring the big toes so they're touching. And then lifting the right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the legs straight and square. So pointing the heel down towards the floor. And as you breathe in, just start to bend the knee, moving into a plank, having the knee underneath the chest. And then stepping through, helping it through if it doesn't quite get there. And just lower down towards the back knee. So we're in our low lunge here. So once you've set up in your low lunge, we're just going to take it into a bit of a flow. So just move between a straight and a bent front leg, allowing that leg to straighten as much as suits you. You might not want to fully straighten it at this stage. And just complete the round you're on, meeting with that front leg bent again, framing the foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and just take a step back to your downward facing dog. And then moving the body forwards into a plank position. And then dropping the knees down towards the floor. Lower the chest and chin down, sending the feet away. I'm going to take those 3 cobras again, so just taking the fingers off of the mat so they're just touching, and breathing in to lift 3 times. Quick first. Breathing in to lift, lowering down, and breathing in to lift, and then lowering back down, and finding your way back towards your downward facing dog. And then just bring the feet so the big toes touch again. And lifting the left leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the hips straight and square, pointing toes down towards the floor. And then bending the knee, taking the knee underneath the chest before stepping the foot through, finding our low lunge on the other side. So setting up your knee and ankle roughly in line. And then that straightening and bending again. Lengthening into the left leg. And then finishing up with the left knee bent, framing the front foot, tuck the back toes, and then step back to your downward dog. Now you might want to wait in downward dog, or you might want to move through a flow. So breathing into plank, breathing out, dropping knees, chest and chin, sending the feet away. Come into those baby cobras. If these aren't really resonating with you, you might just want to take a few breaths in a sphinx or a cobra, a still cobra pose. Back to downward facing dog. Lifting right leg up towards the ceiling. This time you might want to bend the knee and open the hip. Squaring up, stepping through with the right leg again. So finding that low lunge, dropping the left knee down. This time planting left hand into the floor, reaching right arm up, finding a twist here. Then reaching that right hand back. Option to stay with this, or you might want to bend the left knee, take hold of the foot or the ankle. So we're going to find a quad stretch. So if you've got hold of the foot, as you breathe in, just sending the leg away and then opening the shoulder. And as you breathe out, just see if the heel will come in any closer. So just take a few of these in your own time, allowing your breath to guide you through the movement. You might hardly have any movement here at all, or you might be able to bring the heel in quite close and send it quite far away. Just depends what's going on in your body today. So just finishing up, and then really gently releasing that left foot, so don't let it slingshot back to the ground. Turning down towards the floor again, and we'll hold our half split, so straightening into the right leg. You might bring the toes up towards the ceiling. You might want to stay quite high up, or you might want to fold over that leg. Bending back in towards the right knee, framing the foot. Tuck the back toes, and taking a step back to our downward facing dog. An option to stay here or moving through a flow. So breathing into plank, You might feel ready to lower all the way down without the knees, or you can use the knees. And you might want to take those 3 cobras again, or you might want to take a static cobra or an upward dog. I'm going to take a static cobra this time, but you do what feels good for you. And when you're done with your back bend, meeting back in downward facing dog, taking that little sequence on the other side. So lifting left leg up towards the ceiling, option to bend the knee and open the hip. Squaring up and then stepping that foot through, lowering down towards the right knee, back into our low lunge here. Keeping the knee bent, planting the right hand, reaching the left arm up for a twist. And then you might reach the left arm back and take hold of that right foot. And then again, that pulsing if you wish to do that. So breathing in to open the chest, send the foot away. Breathing out to bring that heel a bit closer in. Complete the round you're on. Gently let that right foot come back towards the floor and then start to straighten into the left leg, finding our half split. Bending back in towards the knee, framing the front foot, stepping back. Again, waiting or finding a flow, breathing into plank, breathing out to lower down, choosing your back bends. Whatever choices you've chosen, remembering to keep it fluid, no attachment to what it should or shouldn't look like. And then meeting back in towards a downward facing dog. So from your downward facing dog, you're going to drop the left elbow down towards the mat. But keep the right arm up. Try to have the right arm straight if you can. If you have a hard time with that, the elbow might bend slightly, but have the intention of the right arm being straight. Your gaze might be taken under your right armpit, and you might notice that one heel is a little bit higher up than the other. You might stay here if there's enough going on for you. If you feel like you want to explore this further, you might lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. There's even the option you might want to bend that right knee, opening the hip out. So in a bit of a half dolphin here, a bit of a hybrid pose. People either love dolphin or they hate it. And then if you've got the knee bent, straightening that leg up again, lowering back down, and with a bit of strength, just push back up towards your regular downward dog. And before we go into the other side, let's just drop the knees down towards the floor. Take the bottom back to the heels, taking a child pose, and just take the hands towards a prayer. And take the prayer either up to the ceiling or towards the back of the head or neck. Just give the shoulders a bit of a rest. Taking the arms back out in front, tucking the toes, finding our downward facing dog. And then from your downward dog, just starting to drop the right elbow down towards the floor, taking the gaze under the left armpit, and then noticing maybe the left heel is wanting to lift up a little higher than the right. Does the left arm want to bend? Can you keep it straight? And does that left leg want to lift up towards the sky? Again, it doesn't have to. Don't have any attachment to any of these postures. You want to bend the knee, go ahead, opening the hip, huge hip opener here. You've got the knee bent, just straighten it back up, lowering that foot back down. A little bit of strength, push back towards your downward facing dog. Breathe in to come into plank. Breathing out to lower down. Finding a back bend, maybe taking those fluid ones, bringing a bit of movement in after that strength. And just coming back towards a 4-point kneeling position. So from your 4-point kneeling, just step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. You might need to extend the left leg away a little bit. You could either stay upright or you might want to drop down towards the elbows. You might want to let that foot turn out onto the blade edge if that feels okay for your hip. Just let some gentle rocking movement come in here. Sometimes it's nice to just explore the space. And then just come back up onto the hands if you drop down to the forearms and heel toe that foot so it's more parallel. And we're going to come up into a high lunge, so lifting up. Either the hands are prayer at the chest or they might reach up towards the ceiling. If you've got your hands at a prayer at the chest, just reaching them up to the ceiling for a moment, and then drop the left hand down towards the back of the thigh. Take a breath in, lifting the chest, and as you breathe out, just start to bend back towards. So taking a lateral stretch here, so we're not just in a back bend, in a lateral stretch, a bit like a warrior, a bit like a reverse warrior, but we're lower down to the ground. And the left hand might stay resting onto the hip or the thigh. It might come on towards the back of the calf, but don't start coming out of the lunge just to get the foot there. Stay deeply in the lunge, just allowing your hand to land where it naturally wants to. Slowly coming back center. Bring the hands towards the prayer at the chest. And just take a twist around towards the right, looking that left elbow over. Working the hands towards the center of the chest, maybe looking over that right shoulder. Turning back down towards the floor, and just come back to that 4-point kneeling. Taking a few rounds of cat and cow here, dipping the belly, taking the chest forwards, breathing out to round. Or you might take that more wave-like motion. And then coming back to stillness and bringing the left foot to the outside of the left hand. You might need to extend the right leg away a bit. So option to stay up on the hands, or you might drop down towards the elbows again. You might allow the left foot to roll out towards the side of the foot, only if that's comfortable though. And just gently, just take some movement here. then just coming back up onto the hands, and then just heel toe that foot in so it's more central. Lifting the arms up, taking our lunge a little higher here. And then dropping the right hand down by the side this time, either to the back of the hip or the back of the leg. And just start to take that lateral stretch, so reaching into the left fingertips, but keeping into that lunge nice and deep. Slowly coming back up, taking the hands to a prayer at the chest, turning around to the left, hooking the right elbow over the left knee, taking the gaze behind. Turning back down towards the floor, and then step back to your 4-point kneeling. And again, I take a few rounds of cat-cow here. And then tucking the toes under, and we're going to move back towards our downward dog, so lifting the knees, finding that upside down V shape again. And then lifting the right leg up to the ceiling, keeping it straight and square. Bringing the knee under the chest, stepping the foot through, this time keeping the left knee off the ground. Make sure your feet are about hip distance so you're not on a tightrope when you come up. And just coming up on towards the fingertips, and then coming up towards a high lunge. Reaching the arms out in front of you, turn the palms up, and take the left arm underneath the right, binding once or twice, taking your eagle arms. So we're bending deeply into the right knee, we've got our eagle bind. We're going to bow forward 3 times here. So take a breath in, lifting the chest, breathing out to fold forwards. Breathing in to lift up, breathing out to dive it forwards. One more time, breathing in to lift it up, breathing out to dive it forwards. And then coming back up. Then step the back foot in slightly for a bit of stability. And then when you're ready, keeping the arms as they are, picking up the left foot and taking it over the right leg, crossing over the thigh either once or twice, you might get the full hook. And then lifting the arms up while sinking the hips down. We're in our full eagle pose here. Releasing the legs out, starting to tip forward, trying to keep not putting the foot down, but if you have to put the foot down, never mind. Taking a few breaths in warrior 3. Then releasing the hands, drop the hands to the floor, maybe take a breath or 2 in standing split, so point the left toes, push that foot up towards the ceiling, and then stepping back with the left leg, stepping back with the right leg. Breathe into plank, breathing out to lower down, choosing a back bend, any back bend that feels good for you. Don't rush through this back bend. And then meeting back in towards our downward facing dog. So from our downward facing dog, lifting the left leg up towards the ceiling, keeping it straight and square. Bending the knees, stepping the foot through, keeping the feet hip distance here. Ready to come up to our crescent lunge, or high lunge. Again, either keeping the arms to a prayer just while you adjust, and then taking them out in front. This time the right arm goes under the left to take your eagle bind. We'll be taking those 3 bows again. So breathe in to lift, get the air in. Breathing out to bow forwards. Breathing in to lift. Breathing out. One more time, breathing in to lift, breathing out to bow. Coming back upright, stepping that right foot in a little ways, and then taking the right thigh over the left, binding the leg once or twice, sinking the hips, raising the arms. And then releasing the legs out, tipping forward, finding that warrior three again. Doesn't matter if you wobble. Release the hands, take them towards the floor. Maybe take a standing splits on the other side. So pointing right toes, right leg up towards the ceiling. And then stepping back with the right leg. Stepping back with the left leg. So either waiting in your downward dog, maybe going to child pose, or moving through a flow, breathing into plank, breathing out to lower. Breathing in, choosing a back bend. Finding our downward facing dog. Dropping the knees down towards the floor. Having the knees about hip distance. Going to come up to a high kneeling position. So we're going to be here for a little while. So if you have sensitive knees, you might just want to fold the mat over, make yourself a bit more cushioned under the knees. And also you could either tuck the toes for this, or you could have them with the feet flat. Whatever makes it better for you. We're going to take a few variants of camel pose. So if you know that you have quite a big back bend and you don't need to tuck the toes, obviously with the toes tucked, the heels are going to be a bit closer. So that's up to you. So first of all, reaching the left arm up towards the ceiling, keeping the right arm down by the side of the body. And then taking the right hand towards the hip. So take a breath in, lifting the chest up. And then take the left hand so it's directly facing out in front of you, so the arm's long. And then either staying here, or you might reach the right hand back and take the heel. So you're in a bit of a twisted version of camel, like a half camel. Now if this is enough, stay here, or you might be here. If you want to intensify this, take the left arm over by the ear. And to come out, take the left arm back forwards, engaging your quads, engaging your glutes, and then coming back up. Just take a moment, center yourself. And we'll go on the other side. So left hand down by the side of the body, right arm up. Take the left hand to the back of the hip. Take the right hand out in front. Take a breath in, lifting the chest, and as you start to bend back, either keeping the left hand on the hip or taking it down towards the heel. And then again, you've got the option to reach that right arm up over by the ear. Taking the right arm back out in front, engaging, slowly coming back up. And we'll take a regular camel pose, just to even things up. So breathing in, lifting the chest, take the hands to the back of the hips. As you breathe out, either staying here or both hands go back together. Take the heels. And if it's comfortable, you might drop the head back, but don't do anything that's going to extend the neck. I quite like having my head looking up to the ceiling in camel. And to come out, again, engage the glutes, engage the thighs, coming back up, and just sit the bottom back towards the heels. And then you might have the knees a little closer this time, or if you prefer them further apart, but taking a child pose with the hands down by the side this time, dropping the forehead down. And really letting the top of the back open out, separating the shoulder blades. And we are going to come to seated from here, so slowly coming up. And then just coming around to seated. I'm going to face you for space so you can see me, but you can still be facing towards the top of the mat. So take the legs out to a wide-ish position and just bring in the left heel towards the groin. So take a breath in, reaching the arms up. And as you breathe out, take the hands down towards the floor and just fold forwards. Doesn't have to be super far, keeping the back as flat as possible. You might drop to the elbows, you might come lower. Pointing those toes up to the ceiling. And then just walking the hands back in, coming back up, and then turning to face the right leg. So breathe in, lifting the chest, and then folding down over the leg. Try to avoid grabbing onto the foot and holding on for dear life. It's not about that today. It's not really about that any day, but we're trying to keep everything fluid. And then walking the hands back in, and then turning around towards the left leg, the bent leg. Take the right hand towards the left knee, take the left hand behind, finding a twist from here. And then reach the left arm up to the ceiling, and start to lean over towards the right leg, reaching the left arm into space. Maybe it touches the foot, but don't grab the foot at the expense of collapsing. Keep the chest nice and lifted here. And slowly coming back up, plant the left hand behind again. And we're going to point into the right foot and just lifting the hips up, reaching the right arm up and over. And then lowering back down towards the bottom. And then taking that side stretch again, so left arm over. I'm going to do this little sequence 3 times. So breathe in to come up, lifting the hips. Breathing out, back into that side stretch. One more time, breathing in to come up, lifting the hips. Breathing out, back into the side stretch. And then coming back center. Straightening out the left leg, and then bending in the right leg. So take that sequence on the other side. Starting off breathing in, reaching the arms up, and then just taking the hands forward, and then walking them out as far as is comfortable for you. Keeping left toes pointed up towards the ceiling. And then walking the hands back in. Turning around towards the left leg, breathing, lifting the chest, breathing out, folding over that leg. And keeping the hands either side of the leg, not grabbing the foot or the leg or anything. Walking the hands back in, and then walking them around to the right. Take the left hand to the right knee, the right hand behind, finding that lovely twist. And then reaching right arm up towards the ceiling, breathing out, tipping over, bringing the left shoulder towards the left leg, reaching the arm into space, or it might touch the foot. Again, moving through that flow again, planting the right hand down, lifting the hips up. And again, we'll do this 3 times. So back into the side stretch. Coming up, lifting the hips. Just let the breath fit in with the movement. Coming down 1 more time, or 2 more times. Lifting the hips. Last time. Lifting the hips up. Lowering down. Take that stretch 1 more time. And then coming back up center. Straightening out the right leg. Take a breath in, lifting the chest. And then just folding forwards, tipping the body forwards. You might come forward a couple of centimeters. We might be able to fold quite deep. Again, slowly coming back up. I'm going to do a slightly different forward fold here. So bringing the soles of the feet to touch, taking them into a diamond shape. We're going to take this quite passively. So have the feet a good distance away. So it's quite a big diamond here. And just starting to fold forward. So let the head be really heavy here, really passive. If you fold quite deeply, it might work better to just take the arms under the legs and just gently have them next to the feet. Try not to bring any movements of force in here. Just let everything open up naturally at its own speed. Slowly coming up out of the fold. We're going to make our way down onto our backs from here. So just lowering down. And just have the knees bent, the feet about hip distance. We're going to take a bridge pose, so tucking the tailbone under, lifting the hips up, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling, engaging into your glute muscles. And then just gently roll back down the spine. Now just bring the feet so the toes are touching, the feet are touching and the knees are touching. We're going to lift up again, tucking the tailbone, lifting the hips up, noticing the difference with the knees together and the feet together, holding this for a breath or 2. And then you can stay in here, or you might lift the right foot up off of the floor, bend the knee in, and then straighten the leg up towards the ceiling. If you've done this, bending the knee and just place the right ankle onto the left thigh, opening the hip out. We're still in our bridge here. So plenty of engagement here. The abdominals and our glutes, keeping our back safe. And then keeping a figure of 4 shape, gently lower down towards the floor. Either waiting here, you might just gently press the hands into the knee to stretch down the IT band, or you might bring the left knee into the chest, coming into a reclined pigeon pose, flexing into that right foot all the time. Just drop that left foot down towards the floor, keeping the figure of 4. And then just allow the knees to drop over to the left, until the right sole of the foot touches the floor, keeping that knee up to the ceiling. Take the arms to a T or a cactus shape. So we're in a twist here. Just engaging into your tummy muscles as you lift the legs back up. Take the right leg off of the left leg. Take the hands back down by the side of the body. Take the feet together and the knees together. You're going to find that bridge pose on the other side. So tucking the tailbone, lifting the hips up. Just taking a few breaths, trying to keep those knees together, those feet together. And then bringing left knee in towards the chest, straightening the leg up. Bending into the knee and then placing that left ankle onto that right thigh. Opening that left knee, lifting the hips. You might be noticing that one side is, you could open the hip further than the other. That's pretty normal. And then just slowly lower back down, keeping that left ankle onto the right leg. And then either staying here, just gently pressing that knee out with the left hand, or bringing the legs in towards the chest for that reclined pigeon pose. Flexing into the left foot. Dropping the right foot down towards the floor, and then just start to take the hips over towards the right until the left foot comes to the floor, keeping left knee up towards the ceiling. Take the arms to a T or a cactus shape. If you have a hard time with this knee staying up, you might just want to push against the leg gently with the right hand. Then engaging the tummy muscles, bringing the knees back center, taking that left leg off of the right leg, bringing one knee into the chest and then the other, just holding around, gently massaging the spine into the floor. And then just spread the knees so they're about armpit shoulder distance. Flexing into the feet. Now either just staying here like this, or you could take hold of the inside or the outside of the feet. Take the feet up towards the ceiling, finding our happy baby pose. Really important in this posture that the hips are still resting on the floor, the shoulders and the head are still resting on the floor. If you find that they're not, something's ridden up, then you might just want to hold a little bit higher up the legs. Sometimes if the legs are longer compared to the length of your arms or your body, it's not always accessible to get the feet in this posture. And just releasing the feet or the legs if you took them, bringing the knees back together. One more time, wrapping the arms around. You might lift the forehead up towards the knees. And then releasing out. We're going to find our Shavasana from here. You just take the time to make sure you're warm and comfortable. And taking up the space on the floor as you wish. Once settled, just allowing the eyes to close. If you want to take a longer Shavasana, you might just end the video here and lay there as long as you wish. We'll be here about 2 minutes or so, so I'll end the practice with me. Just make yourself comfortable and listen out for the singing bowl at the end. So letting go of everything now, thoughts, just let the feelings drift by, just like water. Just beginning to take some deeper breaths. Breathing air back into the body. And starting to bring some movement back in. Be really intuitive with the movement. You might feel like stretching or bringing the knees into the chest for a hug. And then when you're ready, just rolling around to a side. And using your top hand to push yourself up to a seated position. Just letting the eyes open as you go through this process of coming back round. And then when ready, reaching the arms up, touching palms together, bringing hands down towards the center of chest. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. If you heard sheep in the background, it's because I live next to a farm. I have mentioned it in my videos before, but if it's your first time watching this video, if you could hear sheep, that's why. It's the joys of living in the country. Thank you all for practicing with me. Namaste.